Hey everyone, today I have a quick tutorial on how to preserve those special cards that you don't want to just throw in a box and you would like to showcase them. I wasn't planning on doing an introduction, if you will, to this video, so it's possible I may repeat myself later on. But I realized after I finished the video, I really didn't show the finished product, all the things that you could do to further embellish your book. I show you how to build it. I did find a neat little clip instead of just the regular bulldog clips. It says Inspire. I've had this a long time, but it didn't close very good. And then I realized all I had to do was fix those little clippy things in there, and it's good and tight. So that is her two things, enclosure and tassel. So I just put a couple of tags, one in the front, one in the back. I'm not going to take them out because she hasn't seen this yet. But like I said, this card was unique in the way that the front cover wasn't just one piece. It was like a double cover. So I was able to put a card in the front. Of course, if the card that you're making doesn't have writing here, you could always put a piece here and also make a pocket that way. And then I put a pocket in the back and a small pocket at the bottom. And then on the ones I made before Christmas, they were upcycled cards. They weren't even mine. I think I got them at a secondhand shop, a thrift shop, and they had, some of them had writing here. So I put cardstock here, and then you could add another pocket. And then of course I put things in the envelope. You can of course put pockets throughout. I did not because I think that she wants it mainly for a writing journal. I did put a little bit of this paper on here just to cover some writing that was at the top of this page because I love this. It's almost like it's, I don't know, distressed paper. Anyway, I thought it was pretty, so I used all of it that I could. And like I say, you can sew, you can put tabs on. There's a lot of places you can add pockets or extra writing. You could do flip out tabs, or I'm sorry, flip out spots, you know, sew onto the edge. But anyway, I wanted to show you once it was complete and a wonderful way to keep your memories. It's a very quick and fun. I really do enjoy making these projects, so stick around with me and I'll show you how to do it. I made some of these before Christmas, and one of the ladies that purchased from me became a very good friend, and she asked me if I would make a journal from this card that has sentimental value to her. And I said, of course. So that's what I'm working on today, and I'm getting it ready to send to her, and I thought we could do that together. So I've already done some of the boring things like inked around, making sure there's nothing in here with no, yeah, there's not really any names here. So inked around all of the things. Interesting about this card is it's not just an open, the front of it, as I was looking, was glued. So there was a space here. So I just opened it up, and I am going to leave this as a pocket. But so I thought that was kind of neat. So I've got all my papers together to put in that. The first step, I want to reinforce the spine a little bit because it's pretty thick card, but I just would feel better if it was a little thicker. So I took some collaged book page with it's collaged with used coffee filter, and then on the inside I put packing tape, just clear packing tape to give it more structure. And I'm going to glue that onto the seam where my signature will be. Give that time to dry. I also want to reinforce the inside on the ones I made before, I covered these two spots. So this time, because this is a sentimental card, has meaning and value to her, it was requested to leave the writing. So there's not a lot of space here between some of the letters and the center. So I thought if I did something clear, that would be best. So I found some washi tape that's for the most part clear. It does have some design on it, but I think that I can set it far enough over where it won't disturb the writing. And what I did on this washi tape, I took some watercolor pencils and I colored the butterflies. It's probably not coming through very good, but some of the butterflies are colored. I imagine that over time this would probably rub off, as I did take a wipe and rub it really good to try to get, you know, whatever is going to come off, maybe it would, the rest of it would stay. Over time, like I say, it will come off, but she's not really going to care. I'm also going to use my glue stick. It dries clear, and that way, if I don't get this down right away, the correct way, I'll have a little bit of wiggle room. And like I say, this dries clear. But there was a certain spot in this writing I could put that and it wouldn't mess with her writing. That's how we do it. And I know it covers over here as well, but you can still see all the writing through it. It doesn't mess with the integrity of the card. So I think that's going to be okay. I hope it's going to be okay. I really struggle doing special work like this because I don't want to mess anybody's things up, and, you know, obviously has meaning to them, or they wouldn't want something special made from it. And I actually, since I didn't put glue on this side, I'm going to see if I can get that back up without hurting anything. And I'm going to cut this so it's not over her words. I know you can see through it, but I think I would feel better if it wasn't covering so much of her words. I noticed that on the outside, it cracked right here. Well, it glued itself back together, so I guess I'm not going to worry about it. I was going to take it off. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know whether to leave it or not. I think I'm going to take off the outside because it's made it very thick and I want it to fold better. And I'm probably going to leave this part in there because you can see that not everything works. I'm trying to be very careful because, again, I don't want to mess up the integrity of this card. If it was a second-hand find, I wouldn't worry about it, but it's not. It's actually somebody's treasure. And I'm going to be covering this back, so I'm not really worried about that extra. I just want to get it from the edge there. Okay. So I have the washi tape on the inside. That'll give me good structure. Enough. It's not a thick journal. I was just trying to, I think, be over precautious. So we've got our spine reinforced. And I'm going to sew around the cover before I do anything else, because I don't want to forget. If I don't do it now, once I glue everything down, it's not going to look correct. And I don't know, maybe I don't need to sew. No, I think I want to do a little bit of black to bring that, make that pop a little bit. So I'm going to sew around this, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I did sew around it, actually twice. I know I said I was going to do black, and I did, but I still had some of this burnt orange in my machine from something I'd worked on in the signature. And I thought, ooh, that would be pretty to do both colors. So I did. I did the burnt orange and the black all the way around. And I think that turned out pretty good. I'm going to leave some of the strings. She likes the grungy look as well. If she doesn't, you always can trim these off. So we have our sewing done. And I'm going to glue this front cover down now. And I actually had thought about putting some kind of lace on the side, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to glue it down. And like I said, there's going to be an opening at the top, so I'm only going to glue on the 3 sides. And the reason I didn't glue it before I sewed is because if I did, I wouldn't have been able to get this part on the inside of the frame of the front. And I really wanted that picture on the front to kind of feel like it was in a frame. So I'm going to clip this down, I think, where it can dry while we're making the envelope. Just going to set this on there. All right. For the envelope, I deconstructed it because it has writing on the front, and I wanted it, when the card is opened, this to be the right way. Before I put the flat part down and sewed that into the signature. This time I can't do that, or it isn't going to be standing upright. It'd be upside down. I don't like that. So I deconstructed it for a couple reasons. One, I do these pieces from scrapbook just to give it some more color and depth. I've already cut the pieces and sewn around them, and I'm going to glue them back on, but I'm not going to glue this shut just yet because I need to sew in my signature before I do that, because this will have to be sewn in along here so that it will be right side up. So I think as I'm saying that, I'm feeling this, and it's not real thick there, so I'm going to put some washi tape on the inside of this as well. Not that anybody's going to be able to see it, but it will just give it some reinforcement. I've picked a little bit thinner washi tape. It's still sturdy, but it's thinner because I don't want to bulk that seam up where it doesn't want to fold smoothly. And the other one is a heavier one. I just want something to give it a little bit of structure for when we run the needle through. Doesn't matter the color really because it's going to be on the inside. Trim that. Kind of thinking it. No, I don't want to do that because there's words there. So the inside will be good enough. And how I did my pieces, this of course was all glued together, and I took a letter opener and very carefully went underneath and opened the whole thing up. Then I took the cardstock I want to use, laid each piece on here with the edge of it to your fold, and drew with a pencil around it. And then when I cut it out, I cut, as you can tell, see the pencil, I cut on the inside of the pencil because I just want a little bit of that envelope to show. I didn't want it to be the exact size. Then I took some lace because you have the sticky part of your envelope on the inside, and I just took some lace and sewed around the cover, and that's going to look nice when we put our piece on the cover as well. So I made 4 pieces for this. Here's our cover, like so, and I'm going to glue that on. I'm going to glue all these pieces back on, and then I'll trim up my lace and we'll get our signature together to bind in. But I'm not going to glue this part together, just the decorative pieces on the flaps. I think I'll leave some of this thread too, probably. I have to do this and get it sent with her package. She ordered some books, some journals, sorry. And I have to do this video and get the package shipped before I put the video up, because if not, she'll be very angry with me that I did this book and didn't charge her. She's very little bit hard-headed and adamant that she pays for everything, even though she does so many things for me and my family. She's just a one of a kind. And you know, I've said this before, I'm sure. Everybody gets put in your life for a reason at certain times. And she actually came along at a really good time. And she's done, like I said, so many things for my family above and beyond. So once in a while, I like to be able to do something for her, even though it's not as great as the things I think she's done for us. But this is all I really know how to do that she might get a kick out of. And plus, I knew she wanted this journal. I gotta tell you, I usually don't make things like custom order, because I'm always afraid, what if they're not happy, and what if they don't tell me they're not happy because they don't want to hurt my feelings and this and that. And you know, whereas if you just make something, whoever buys it evidently liked it or they wouldn't have bought it. But when you're trying to make something, I'm going to put a little glue stick down just to give me a little wiggle room, because I'm not exactly happy with how that front cover went on, and then I couldn't move it. I mean, it's okay, but I would have moved it and wiggled it just a little bit. Of course, now that I can move it, I don't need to. I did that one just fine. And then also on these pieces, there's little bitty flowers in there, and I wanted them, of course, to be standing upright, not that they had to be. So be mindful of that when you're cutting your pieces as well. I ended up having to cut it twice because I cut them side by side, and that didn't work because one was upside down. Plus, when you're working on someone else's things, it's kind of nerve-wracking. What if you mess it up? And evidently it has meaning to them, or they wouldn't, you know. The only good thing about junk journaling is if you happen to spill coffee or something, it'd be okay because well, coffee dyed that, you know. But land sakes, I sure hope I don't do that. Anyway, as I was saying, I have to get this in the mail before the video comes up. Otherwise, she's going to be giving me what for, because I didn't charge her for this. She's going to anyway, but she'll get over it. Once she sees the journal, she'll be fine. Okay, I've done some repairs. Hopefully it's going to... Ooh, look at there. It's working like a charm. Be like that, and then I'm going to trim this edge. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Our next step is going to be make sure this is glued down well, and it is. So our next step is going to be sew in our signature. And again, I already have my papers here. I've done some vellum, tea-dye vellum, sewn around some pages, used some of the Rit dye, really pretty. And like on this paper here, I used it because of the word on the outside, dance as if no one was looking, words, the phrase, the quote on the outside, spit it out. So I used this paper because of the color green, and I liked the saying, but the inside was this. So I thought, well, it's still okay. But then I took just regular gel pens in the turquoise and the black and kind of circled around some of them, and I thought it really helped and made a big difference and tied in the cover. You know, it has these little circles. So I tried to use those colors that are in the cover and keep, you know, with that circle. The reason I used this paper here was that on this paper, I used white on the bottom and black thread on the top, so it would show up on this side and kind of on that side. And I did the same thing on something else. Can't remember what it was. This is kind of a green. And this, oh, this is so pretty. I know it doesn't show up, but it really is pretty. It's got the kind of that greens and turquoises, and I sewed around it with turquoise. I left this at the top because I just thought it looked kind of vintage, but that's the name of the paper. More Rit dye and some packing paper. I used different threads. This is turquoise, black and white, and the rust color, which I thought kind of picked up that bird. There's just a little tiny bit right there, and I love to be able to pick up on that. So I'm going to put the envelope where whenever she opens it, it's going to be on the inside just like this. Of course, your envelope is bigger than your card, so I could make my signature as big as this envelope, which I did. So it's going to be like this. And see, there'll be some of that poking out, but I like that. I know that she will too. Oh, I know what it was that I sewed black and white. This is going to be the piece that goes on the back to cover up all the writing. And I couldn't decide if I wanted the white with the black or the black with the white to show. So to make sure that the thread sewed up on both sides, I did white thread on the in the bobbin, blah, 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 in the bobbin, and then I put black at the top so that it would show up on both sides. Still don't know which side I want to use. Hopefully I will by the time I get there, huh? Okay, so let's thread this together. Got two different options on the wax thread to bind this. I have black and I have kind of this coffee rust, but I don't know if that really matches. Maybe I'll just stick with the black. I think I'll use the black. So I'm going to line everything up how I want it in this book. And it's at this point that I finally realize I'm not going to be able to put that here. And actually, I can't do that. If I was going to sew in this envelope, it's going to have to be in the middle. Like so. And I'm not crazy about that. Let's rethink. I guess I could go ahead and glue it shut. And if I yeah, this would be better. This would be okay. I'm going to go ahead and glue it shut because I don't want to put the envelope in the center of the signature. And in order to sew it into the signature, it would have to be in the middle so that you could run your needle through the center. Unless I made two signatures. Sewed this by itself and then sewed this. So which do I want to do? That's not a very big spine. I don't want to do that. I don't want to take a chance of messing up the outside. So it just won't look like this when she opens it, which is what I wanted. It will look like this. And I mean, that's okay. It's pretty. I love how it looks. It's gonna be fine. She'll like it. Ooh, I hope. darn, I hate that I can't do it the way I wanted to. Okay, so I'm going to line up my papers. And I'm going to clip mine because I don't always manage to hold real still. So I'm going to put big clips on mine to hold it still while I'm sewing it in. Normally I put them up here, but they're not really long enough. And I need them to catch this envelope. And actually, you know, that was smart. I haven't glued this down yet, so let's do that. And I try so hard to think of everything ahead of time because I don't want to take things back apart and take a chance of tearing. So now we can sew this in. And I'm not one to make a template, however you say it, to poke holes. I just guess. And I will speed up the process of binding in the book. It's a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and there's lots of great tutorials for that. And I like to keep it folded up when I'm punching my holes so that it will come right out that center. Leave her a little room in case she wants to add some beads. And this isn't a heavy duty journal. It's a card, so it doesn't have a lot of papers in it. And I don't know that she's going to want to add beads and such, because I am going to put a dangle on, or a tassel on it. I'm really struggling with my words today, aren't I? I think I'm a nervous wreck because I don't want to mess this up. Again, I'm going to put ribbon in the middle. I always do this because I feel like if I don't, as tight as I tie this knot, I'm always worried it will pull through. So I like to put a little ribbon there to give me some, for one, to tell me, okay, that's tight enough. And for two, I think it, in my mind, it will help it from pulling through. Before, whenever I thought I was going to be able to put the envelope where I wanted it, I was going to use a Tim Holtz cardboard, one of the baseboard pieces, to hold the lid down. I don't really need to do that now, but I think I still want to add something like that. I picked out some pieces here. I don't know which one I'm going to use. Probably shouldn't show it on the video because she'll be like, oh, use that one, and I won't pick the one she wants or something. Or just something small like this. Ooh, and I'm going to be 56 this year, ain't I? Yeah. Isn't that terrible? You gotta stop and think. I don't, of course, if I put it on there like this, it's going to be upside down, right? So I'd have to do it this way. You know, maybe I'll just leave it off because it's upside down now, and it's really thrown me into a turmoil, hasn't it? It's really messed me up. Okay. So now all we have to do is cover the back. Still haven't decided if I want to put that up or down. What do you think? Black side? Yeah, I think the black side. Okay. And then I can make the pocket out of, you know, vice versa. Alright, so let's glue this down. I'm wondering about putting a pocket on the back, too, to match the front. I think I'll do that. She says as she puts glue all over it. You know, it's like when I speak, what I'm saying doesn't go to my hands. Like, my mind doesn't work with my body. I got an idea, but the body ain't following. It's going to do what it wants to do. Alright, so that should work. So I'm going to let this lay flat just to make sure that this, you know, because it's on the corner, you know, where you fold the corner. I don't want it to start pulling up. And then for the tassel, I just chose some of the colors from the front of the card and tried to bring them all in. And I didn't want to put an eyelet in this, spit it out. I decided that I was going to put it on with a bulldog clip and let it hang. That way she could, if she didn't want it on there, you know what I'm trying to say. I hope, because I sure don't. So I'm just going to clip that on. Well, before I do that, I made a Crafted by Christy. I did this one in green. I kind of played with the colors yesterday when I was making them. I was going to kind of run it through the thread, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to run it through like this. Something like that. And then I'll put the clip on. Hadn't decided whether I want to use black or white, and I think I want to go with black. So I'll put the clip on something like this. And she may not want to leave it. I mean, this is sturdy, though. I don't think it will, leave indentions in it. I figure later on today I'm going to take an English class. Try to figure out how in the world to speak. Maybe like that. Well, for the love. Yes, no, I don't know. Should I put an eyelet in it or just leave it like this? See, and I can't ask her because it's going to be a surprise. What about if I just do it like this? I'll leave it with the bulldog clip. I mean, I guess I could put a... See, I didn't want to poke holes in her card. Because I figured my luck, I would put it somewhere there were words, and then I think I'm going to do it just like that. I hope you like this. I hope in some way, I don't know how it would have been, but I hope in some way that this tutorial was helpful. And even if it wasn't helpful, maybe it inspired you to make one of your own. And then, like, or at least made you say, fool, you could have done that so much easier. Do that. Make your own. And I think this would be fun to have, like, baby shower cards. And actually do, like, the tab binding where you could open them up and see them together. Or there's another, it's called hinged. I want to try that too. Accordion hinge. I want to try that too. That's another one where you could do something like this. But if you had a lot of cards that were close to your heart or sentimental, there's so many ways to bind them into a journal form where you could keep all those memories and keep them together. So anyway, I hope you like this tutorial. I hope you understood some of the words that I was trying to spit out my mouth. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And like I said, I'm going to go and maybe drink some more coffee or try to figure out how to speak a little better. And I will see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.